we're going to jump around. I wanted to cover a couple things. One, the first thing, let me just reintroduce myself. My name is Patrick Daly, and I work for Vernon Bitzer. We've all met. At least I think I have. And this is Tony. Tony is new with Vernon Bitzer about 2 months. He's going to be on the outside. We had John Farina for a little bit, and he moved on, and so we're happy to have Tony on board. And so between myself and Tony, we'll be covering the area, mostly Tony, and with my backup, and then obviously the office. If you need anything, because we're both on the road all the time, you know, the best place is if you need something quick, the office is the most responsive. I'm going to turn my phone off so it doesn't ping me. So I know the last time I was here we went over the Orion and the Blucher pipe, but I'm going to touch base on that. But the main thing that I wanted to kind of introduce to you is the new Sentry Plus Alert system. It's a flood protection valve. And there's a couple things as we go through this, but the benefit for you guys is it's multi-use. So and especially for the outside guys, for anybody that is looking to upgrade and retrofit, it can work on anybody's product. So, so we'll go over that. We'll go over the Blucher and the Orion, and then we'll touch base on the IntelliStations, the digital mixing. I put in a line card on the table, and I'll go through it quickly just so you remember what we represent. And oh, by the way, I don't know if you know this or not, but Dick Filer retired last Friday.
Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we thought we had him until September, and he put his house up and it sold in one day.
Wow.
And, so his wife was pushing him because they had grandbabies down in South Carolina, and so she was pushing him hard to kind of, you know, wrap it up. And with the house sale, it certainly wrapped it up. So he sent his regards, but he's officially retired now. So we hope we'll still stay in touch with him and hear from him from time to time. But he's on to bigger and better things with his grandbabies and playing some golf. And, enjoying. So just to let you know, he retired. So American Gas Safety, it's a newer line for us. It's all utility control shut-off. So if your clients, if your customers looking for any kind of control and shut-off on gas, electricity, on water, we have a solution for it. We're starting to see a lot of, right here in front, True Hotel, you know, they have a barbecue pit and a fire pit. We have a utility control shut-off that the person at the front desk can control and shut off. It also has an emergency button, a knock-off button. So we're starting to see a lot of opportunities in that space. Where AGS cut their teeth was in the lab, high school labs for all the gas turrets. But they do kitchens, barbecues, boiler rooms, anything that you need control and shut off, they can do it. Electricity, water, carbon monoxide, detectors. So it's a newer line for us, but it's a really nice line. Chicago Faucets, it's all the commercial sensor-operated faucets and manual faucets. Blucher, as you know, is all the stainless steel waste pipe and drains. Dormont is all the flexible stainless steel connectors and natural gas lines, wide range of other liquids and gases that you can supply. Filtrine is filling stations, designers, fountains, filters, purifiers, and chillers. McGuire is all stops and P-traps and high-quality commercial trim. Powers, which we'll go over, is the digital mixing valves, thermostatic mixing valves. Stream is all oil interceptors, solid interceptors, chemical waste interceptors. Do you guys get into much of supplying interceptors at all, or requesting for interceptors? Yeah. And then obviously Watts is all the backflow, the pressure regulators, the ball valves, and all the other water systems. Ames is a sister company of Watts, and typically how they separate them, Ames was on the fire side and Watts is on the plumbing side, but they kind of cross back and forth nowadays. Watt's rain cycle, this is an interesting one. It's all rainwater harvesting. I don't know if you guys ever get called on that, but we have a solution for you. Usually I'll tell you what ends up happening with the rainwater harvesting. It gets specified in a job, and then it gets value engineered out. And we've rarely seen any come from like full spec to completion, unless it's a a college application or a municipality, that they're trying to make the building green for a reason, but they usually value engineer it out. Interesting on that, there's a lot of ordinances now, like in DC, out in San Francisco. If you're doing anything higher than a 4-story building, you have to put in some kind of rainwater harvesting system in with the design. So they're getting bigger and bigger. Right now, we don't see it too much. Some of the older cities are starting to grab it because they're just trying to slow down infrastructure. With all of the waste and storm drainage, is trying to slow it down so it doesn't flood out their systems because they're so old and antiquated. FEBCO is backflow again, and that's all on the typically on the irrigation side. Hotbox, which you guys do, I do see some requests for quotes. That's all the enclosures for the backflow. Orion is all the acid waste, which we'll go over, and then Shear is the lifetime guaranteed grease interceptor. Shear and Stream are what I would say sister companies. They're completely separate. It's just two brothers. One does the grease only, and the other guy does all the oil, chemical, and solids. But they're right down the street from each other, but they're identical almost in product with a few variations. And then, do you guys get into any requests for drainage? Because we have all of that in stock at our facility. So if you're looking for some carriers or lav carriers or drains, all cast iron, you have access to it, I guess is my point. I just don't see too much drain work coming out of your...
You're talking more like the Zorn items? Like what we get from Zorn?
Well, do you get it from Zern? I don't know. Okay.
Is that what they would be talking about, Doug?
I think so.
Cast iron drains. Yeah, well, you have an option with Watts. We stock it. It can go on a standard order in ships, and it's all part of the AD back end as well. So that might be something you might want to look at.
If we would give you Zorn numbers, could you cross it?
Yeah, you would send it to start in our office. It's Bill Cunningham's kind of our drain specialist for crossing stuff over, and I'll get you it's bcunningham at vernonbitzer.com. Yeah, we can cross that over. So that's the line card. Today I wanted to introduce this is what we call the Sentry Plus Alert system, and I feel this has a lot of advantages for you guys, especially for the outside. If you guys are walking around with these, and we'll get you some brochures. This is new, so we're limited on brochures, but we'll get some out. But if you walk around and just put your company logo on here and drop them off, and start targeting the retrofit, which we'll go through. It's quite simple, and it's pretty slick. So the agenda: what is Sentry Plus Alert technology? Product brief, 4 applications and solutions, the Watts Advantage, how it works, Sentry Plus Alert technology at a glance, device registration, Sentry Plus Alert, and flood protection resources. So we'll kind of go through all of those together. So, what is Sentry Plus Alert technology? The challenge with any backflow RPZ is they're designed to dump. And when you get into bigger size backflow, they're putting out a ton of water, and they can wreak havoc in a building. So You know, there has been systems out there. We had an older system that we have, a flood protection valve that we have, but we just upgraded it with kind of what we call the latest and greatest technology. More importantly, it's tied to the cloud, and it can be tied to a BMS system, and it can notify people when it starts to dump. So it's going to send you an email, it's going to send you a text, it's going to send you a phone call, send help. I mean, when we're looking at a 3-inch backflow, it can dump over 250 gallons of water per minute, and you know, that can quickly add up to a lot of damage in a building. And it can be as simple as something hanging up like a rock in a diaphragm, you know, some crud coming through the line that just hangs it up, and then the water just dumps, and that's what it's designed to do. It's supposed to dump. So continuous relief valve discharge from a backflow preventer can overwhelm a building's drainage system. The PVS 7000 flood protection system with Sentry Plus Alert technology is the only connected flood detection system with an option for automatic water shutoff capability that can be added to an upgrade to any RPZ preventer to provide real-time flood detection. And that's important. We do have a couple competitors that have just come out with something. Ours works on anybody's, and we'll go through why, and that's really probably one of the benefits of knowing about this system. You can receive alerts no matter where you are. The Sentry Plus Alert technology, sending notifications via text, email, and phone call, via cellular connection through the Synco mobile app. It's important that you can tie this in, we'll get into it, but you can tie this system into your own BMS system, but some people, some of the facilities get weird about tying different systems into their BMS system for whatever reason. We also have a cellular system where it's on. They don't pay for it. It's not. It's to the cloud. It's to a Microsoft-based cloud service where it stores all of the data. So it's just pinging the cloud system, and then if anything were to interrupt, that's when it's sending all the messages. But they don't have to pay for that system. It's actually it's a 2-year. In 2 years, they may have to pay for it, but the first 2 years, you know, it's a cellular system that that's part of the whole valve setup. So, a couple things for you guys, if you guys are getting into this. Lead time right now upon order for any flood protection is 5 days. The connectivity, it's a BMS. Everybody know what BMS is? It's a building management system. So it has all the protocols where they're just running Cat5 wire to it and hooking it up, and then somebody's monitoring, typically at a guard station or something, or you know, facilities. But that's what a BMS stands for. Or cellular with a mobile app, and we chose cellular because Wi-Fi in particular. There's a difference between cellular service and Wi-Fi. Right? Wi-Fi is just connecting to someone's, you know, system. The Wi-Fi in most in most buildings, nobody wants you to tap into their own Wi-Fi, you know, on a regular basis. That's why they have a guest Wi-Fi for security reasons. So when we started down this road, we just brought a whole bunch of different people in and asked them what's the best application, and probably 90% of them said no to Wi-Fi because they just won't let you into the systems because they're concerned about security issues now. So that's why it's a cellular service. And most of the sales guys, including me, have to remind yourselves that it's different between Wi-Fi and mobile. It's a cellular service. The markets for plumbing and irrigation, but anybody that has, you know, a backflow, this is a perfect system for an upgrade system or a new system. Application, existing and new installation for flood protection ACV and or backflow preventers. Configuration, standard item, ordering codes, reduced lead times, easier to purchase. And the reason we put that up there, I don't know if any of you have dealt with some of the flood protection valves, but we made them very hard to order and numbering process. It was like you had to have a PhD to put it together. And we're like, this is, this is ludicrous.
Yeah.
So the reason they put that up there, because that was comments coming back from us, like we sell it every day and we couldn't figure out how to put the system together just from an ordering process. You had to order it over here, you had to get this part from here, it was in different parts of the catalog to make a system. So they kind of streamlined it and gave you all new model numbers and a brand new upgrade. And then this is powered by Syncta. Syncta is a software program that Watts bought. Typically, that's something that most of the users or the testers will buy, that software to manage all of their test reports. And then they submit that test report to the authority that has jurisdiction over backflow. But Syncta is it's a brand of Watts, and they have developed all the apps for all of this. When you register these products, you're going to go through the Syncta app. So, on technology applications, we have 4 different applications. We have the PBS 7000, and this is the whole system. So you're going to get the wireless node, the junction box. You're going to get the ACV and the backflow. So it's the whole system. The intent of this system is that if you are going to buy a flood protection, typically you want a shut-off, but in some cases, for example, like a cooling tower, you don't want that water being shut off to a cooling tower because then you can ruin the equipment. They may want a flood protection to notify them if anything's dumping, but they don't want it to shut down. So this system, if there was an interruption in the backflow on the RPZ, and it dumps into the drain, and it's a flow switch mechanism, so this is why it can work on anybody's system. You're just tapping into a 2-inch drain, and it's a flow switch that you're just going to cut and trim, and then you're going to set the run time for what you want for notification or your client wants for notification. Right, so most people do 30 seconds, 60 seconds if you have a continuous run. It's telling this thing and sending it back, it's telling this to shut everything down until somebody comes to investigate. So this is the complete system, backflow, the ACV, and the connectivity existing to any, adding to wireless connection. And this comes with what they call a 100-foot antenna, which is basically a cord that they're going to try to, especially in the basement, so you can get out to, get some connectivity into the cloud. The second one is, just for this example that I talked about, was for the backflow. If, like in a cooling tower, or they just didn't want the water shutting down, but they wanted someone to connect, you're just going to buy the wireless node and the backflow by itself without the ACV, right? So it's just the backflow protection system without the shutoff. They already have the backflow installed. They don't need to they don't need to buy the whole backflow, but they want the advantages of a shutoff valve. You can just buy the ACV with the wireless node. So all of this you would just bolt on right to the existing backflow, and you're going to cut into your drain. You're going to put your flow switch in, and then you're going to connect everything up. And then this is where I think a lot of your sales guys might have a real opportunity. At a minimum, it's something to get into the door, right? And we're not, it's another reason to go in and see them. Hey, what are you doing with your backflow, and what happens if it dumps? And I will tell you that any facility out there has at least one story that they could share that has, some kind of flooding issue from a backflow. So they're all hyper aware of it. I feel this brochure and this gives IPS another reason to kind of go back in and have a conversation. And every salesperson that I talk to, even as we tell our manufacturers, we just want that other opportunity to get in there and have the opportunity from a story standpoint. And then that opens up the door for whatever you want to sell. So this is just the upgrade kit. So you're just buying the wireless node, the junction box, and the flow switch. And again, all you need is a 2-inch drain or more. And then typically they're all 2-inch drains or larger. And you're cutting in and you're setting it up. So those are the 4 different new products that Watts has on what we call a flood protection valve, the Sentry Plus system. So a range of pre-configured pre-configured systems, price list valve stations, which we'll email you. Price list. We have. We're in the middle of, which I'm sure you've seen, our Watts has announced a price increase because of some of the tariffs that have been slapped on us. So we're working through some of the prices. I'm not sure because they just put this out. I'm not sure if anything's going to change, but they haven't given us our final price list. But we'll email that. Should I just email that to Bob and then he disseminates it?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So you have the backflow and the AC range up to 10-inch, 2.5 to 10-inch is the sizes that we offer on the system. You have BMS connectivity and full wireless capability, connects the device with you and your service professional in one simple system, sending you an alert when continuous relief valve discharged through the drain pipe is sensed by the flow sensor. The RPC backflow preventer to protect the potable water supply from contamination that can occur from back siphons or back pressure events. So this is just a simple system where it just shuts everything off. And these are some of the model numbers. You can get it with our 957 and our 909. Does everybody know the difference between the 909 and the 957? So in principle, RPZs, they work the same. Our 909 is our legacy product, right? We are not allowed to discount the 909. It has a patent on it. We feel that nobody else can make a 909. Our competitors came out with similar product to our 957, which is a stainless steel version. I go back and forth on this, and I'm going to give you a peek behind the window here. We love selling the 909 because we have so many legacy specs and we get a premium for it. But we always have to be cautious of our competitors, so we always quote an alternate of a 957. The 957 is just a stainless steel. It's lighter, it's easier to work on, and it's easier to install. I would tell you the 909 by itself is like bulletproof. Once you install that, you never have it. For example, I'll use Hershey Foods. They won't veer off of a 909, right? That's their spec. They're not moving it. People have tried to break it with other systems or even our less expensive system. They just don't do it. So the difference between they work in the same, but they work the same from a principle standpoint. They're just different technologies, and everyone asks, well, what's the difference between the 909 and 957? And it really comes down to a cost alternative. I'll tell you that most of the contractors like putting in the 957s because they're lighter and easier to install and repair if you have to. This is where the due checks are, and this is a slide, and they just back that off, and they can slide it out, and they can get right to their checks. So they like it from a convenience standpoint. I'd also say that Watts is trying to push us more towards the 957s because it's less expensive for them to manufacture. And, the 909s are just a big hunk of cast iron that just heavy, and they're trying to push us the other way. So we struggle because we're such a older, established rep agency with a ton of 909s, and the big difference is they're different lay lengths. So the 909, if someone has a 909, everybody gets the lay length, like when you take one out, you want to put it right back in, and it's got to be the same lay length. That has a little bit different of a lay length, so you got to make up a spool piece, which we do offer and we make. But so most of the time, people are just replacing what they have.
You said the 957s are only in stainless?
They're stainless. Yeah. And where we got the 957 from was when they bought Ames. Ames was making everything just in stainless. So now they have it, kind of cross-manufactured. So we're happy to sell you anything, and as long as it's just Watt's product, we're pretty happy. Just to let you know the difference between a 909 and a 957. And on the other side, there's a 007 and then a 757, which is just dual check. This is the RPZ versus dual check. So this talks about just the ACV. The 113 FP flood protection shutdown ACV is normally open valve designed to be installed upstream of a reduced pressure backflow RPZ device of any manufacturer. As long as it bolts up, we don't care. This normally open ACV closes when continuous relief valves discharge through the drain pipe and sensed by flow sensor energized by the solenoid pilot. And then it has the BMS connectivity and full wireless capability. And again, it's just kind of redundancy, but it's just, this can be up to ACVs 1 1/4 to 10 inch in size. This just talks about the RPZ by itself with the wireless node, and this just comes as a system. So you can order it by 957 Alert, OSY, LF909, and it's just Alert on the back end of it. Any questions on this? And then this is really where this pamphlet has all of them laid out for you, so the guys can kind of go in and talk about them. Universal upgrade kit retrofits existing flood protection, ACV, RPZ, backflow installations, and is backwards compatibility. I think what they meant there, that's a typo. It's supposed to be backnet capability. When I read that last night, I was like, oh. Everybody in backnet is just kind of the tech lingo. I'm sure the guy that was supposed to come in, I'm sure he knows what backnet is. I don't really know what it is outside of it goes to a computer. And again, just BMS connectivity and full wireless capability. So the Watts advantage. Watts flood protection ACV systems with Sentry Plus Alert technology can be integrated with any manufacturer's RPZ backflow installations. Sentry Plus Alert technology is backnet compatibility with existing Watts RPZ backflow installations and flood protection ACVs. Sentry Plus Alert technology is compatible with any backflow manufacturer, so that's just the software. And then flood protection is installed upstream of the backflow application and shuts off the incoming water supply, preventing water damage and water waste. So how it works. The contractor connects the Sentry Plus Alert node to the junction box. The facility engineer then registers the device using everything that Watts sells now comes with a QR label on it. Everybody know what a QR? Everybody probably has one on their phone at this point, a QR reader that you can scan and it brings up all the information. So you're going to scan the QR label and it's going to bring you up to the Sync Act app, selecting by which methods how you alert. So it's going to take you through the 1, 2, 3, 4 step process. And do I want to be text? Do I want to have a phone call? Do I want to have an email? And who do I want to be notified? And at some point, they're talking about when that notification comes, then a partner would be also notified that maybe perhaps they need parts. So we're trying to kind of connect all that. We're not there yet, but that's the discussion. The flow sensor continuously monitors for excessive water discharge from backflow preventers and sends a signal to the smart electronic control unit. Step 3, the electronic unit analyzes the discharge in case of abnormality and shuts the water off only in the ACV if the ACV is installed, right? And then it alerts the SYNCTA to the building management system. And then SYNCTA sends a message to the user remotely via text, email, and alerting them of possibly abnormal conditions and actions taken. And I will tell you, like we always reference the Comcast building down in the city. It was on like the 35th floor. They had a 4-inch backflow dump. It was over Brian Roberts, the CEO of Comcast, floor, and he had all this cherry Brazilian wood, and it dumped over a weekend apparently. And it was before my time. I wasn't around because it was about 10 years ago when they opened up the first Comcast, and it dumped 4 more floors, and it was just because they had, you know, shit in the line, excuse my language, but that's exactly what it was, and it just interrupted. Had they had that ACV shut off, it would have just really just been a minor issue. So, Sentry Plus technology at a glance connects the device with you and/or your service professional in one simple system. Long-range installation up to 100 feet from junction box for optimal cellular signal connectivity. Uses cellular network for connectivity, overcoming your security concerns relating to connecting to your Wi-Fi networks. Flash upgradable, enabling performance upgrades to be executed without the need of a service call or to take it offline. So when they're dinging the cloud and they're sending it, if they have a software update, it's just going to update it on its own. Don't forget, it also can connect to the BMS system for total peace of mind. So that's the system that we want to do. So then you can register the device. So you scan the QR code with your mobile device camera. You enter all your contact information in here. Or you can manually enter the device ID number. Tell us how you want to be contacted when its discharge event is detected. And check your flood protection system for connectivity status. And then 6, editing your device gives your device a nickname and check methods of testing. So these are just kind of how you, testing the system and setting it up. I don't know if I can play this or not. I tried last night. I can't. It shows a cool video of how it works, but I just can't get that on the screen. So any questions on that? Is this something you think your clients would be asking for? Because I would tell you, I know they're asking for it. It's kind of getting the word out there. They're looking. We have an older system, but it's just antiquated now at this point compared to this. If you like, so all of this is on the website. On the main page, you can, if you have any questions or anything, you can just kind of download that. And you don't even have to write that down. It's just on the Watts Water. It's on the homepage, wattswater.com website. So I'm going to bounce to. Is everybody familiar with the Orion line, the acid waste line?
A little bit. We sell it.
So, just so you know, we are, while I open this up, we stock up to 6-inch in the blue line, and all the fittings, and then everything's shipping out thereafter from Watts down in North Carolina. So I'm going to breeze through some of this because I just want to hit the highlights. So Orion is oh, you know what? I should do this. This always shows, this is always interesting, and they're always updating this and changing this, but this is a lot of the brands that Watts owns. So chemical waste drainage piping systems, so you have polypropylene, PVDF, flame retardant, non-flame retardant product, right? We also have dual containment piping systems for drainage and pressures. I will tell you that dual containment's getting bigger and bigger in the hospital environment. It's the Facilities Guidelines Institute of 2018 states that you have to have dual containment, or what they call drip trace, over any lab, OR, cafeteria, and switchgear room. Now, they don't specify what type of product though. They just say dual containment. So there's multiple ways you can skin that cat. In fact, Blucher and Orion both have dual containment options. Or they do the drip trace. I'll tell you that all of the environmental health and safety officers hate the drip trace. So you're starting to see a lot more dual containment in some of the new specs. And it just, that specification for the Facility Guidelines Institute just came out last year, so you're starting to see it now in the bid spec alternate options. And then we have chemical waste treatment monitoring systems. It's just dilution tanks, limestone tanks, pH monitoring, chemical dosing. You have the alarms and leak detection on all of our systems. And most of that stuff is going to be typically specified, I think, but you guys are in a unique situation. You guys call on a lot of people who are just doing line shutdowns and just got to get up and running. So, this is where this comes into opportunity. We also have high purity piping systems for the pure water. And typically this is how you see from the drainage side the triple play, right? So typically you're going to have blue line to white line. White line is the PVDF, and that goes in all of the air plenums. Back to blue line, and the reason we show that is because the PVDF is extremely expensive, and we'll get an engineer who specifies the whole job in PVDF, and we're like, you sure you want to do that? And because it gets very costly, so you can kind of go back and forth. The thing you want to catch up on is that you cannot fuse between the blue line and the white line. It has to be a mechanical joint. So, and we'll get into the different fusion technologies. And then you can go back to the blue line, and then from underneath, and it's all flame retardant, by the way. All of the product here is flame retardant. But underneath you have the non-flame retardant, what we call the brown line. You don't need flame retardant underground, or at least you hope you don't need it underground. And the reason we offer brown line, but we rarely sell it because we stock the blue line and it just becomes a lead time issue, is because it's just a little less expensive and you can put that underground. So we have three different, we have what we call blue line, white line, brown line. And then you can Ryan fuse it, which we'll get into, or you can mechanical joint the system. Any questions on this so far? So the markets, typically high schools, universities, hospitals, pharmaceuticals. We've got a lot of food service now. We've done a lot with like the Kit Kat facility up in, I think in Berwick, I think it is, somewhere around there. I always get that backwards, I'm not exactly sure. It's up that way, it's somewhere up that way. Done a lot with Hershey Foods, done a lot with a lot of the different, all the pharmaceutical facilities, anything in a high school, typically chemical lab space, hospitals. So the plastic used in acid waste is the polypropylene, the PVDF, or the HDPE, high density polyethylene. The polypropylene maximum temperature is 250 degrees. This is excellent wide range chemical resistance, includes solvents. And then the joining methods on this are mechanical joints, aka threaded, no hub compressed gasket, encapsulated band, and then fusion, which is electrofusion, butt weld, socket weld, or stick weld. I think you guys are pretty much up to speed in all those connections, right? Yeah. So
It takes a special tool though, right?
it does, which we brought to kind of show, but
And do you guys rent the tool?
we do. We typically have about 10 to 12 that we're running at it all the time. And larger jobs, we kind of quote it into the job, because I would tell you that we hate chasing these machines. This is probably the worst part about the job, is chasing those machines, because inevitably they never come back the way we gave them. And they're like $3,500 a machine. So we try to, like bigger jobs, we try to make sure that the contractors have them. And you guys, we would sell them through you. We don't sell direct, by the way. The only thing, we put a nominal fee on the rental, and we make it, like if you were to send us a purchase order, we make you give us a purchase order for the whole machine. And if it doesn't come back, then that's typically when we bill it. We've had a few instances. The other thing is, you have to get these calibrated on a yearly basis. And there is we have no skin in the game. We don't really make any money on the machines, you know, but we want the contractors to have the machines. So once they have the machines, they kind of buy into our system. You know, that's kind of the end game, right? You cannot use solvent on the Orion system. The polypropylene types, it's pigmented blue, it's flame retardant, it's for drainage systems above ground. The brown is just not flame retardant, drainage pipe below ground. We rarely sell again the brown pipe, because just we don't have it in stock, and it's always a lead time issue. And then you have the polypropylene types. This is not flame retardant. This is for high purity pressure systems, so up to 2 inch, by the way, and that's all your RO, DI water that they're using in the hospitals and the labs. And then the PVDF, I can't say it, how do I say, polyvinyl fluoride. This is excellent chemical resistant. Max temperature is 285 degrees. This meets the ASTM E84 fire testing rating. That's important. We do have some competitors that are out there, and I honestly don't know how they're selling their stuff, because they don't meet that standard. And it becomes, when this product burns, especially our competitors, if it were to burn, the off-gassing, you know how they teach you to drop, stop and roll, whatever that statement is. Drop and roll, right? All those gases, typically gases rise, all those gases go to the floor, and they can kill you instantly. So you have to have, this is important that you have this burn rating on there. And they're typically used in the air plenums, and they join the same way as polypropylene. But if you're joining polypropylene to the PVDF, you have to use the mechanical joint. But you can butt fuse, or you can Orion fuse the system. And then typically we just call it white line. That's how you can tell. It's just a different pigment. It's white line. The polypropylene PP, vinyl, whatever, PVDF joining methods. Again, mechanical joint, threaded, no hub compression, gasket encapsulated with a band. And we have all that in stock. Here's the electrofusion, and we brought in, does anybody want to try the fusion machine, or is it? We brought one in if you want to try it.
Sure.
Where's the line start?
Now, I'll tell you that you always have to make sure, if anybody calls and says they have an error code on it, the first thing you want to ask them, are you on clean power? And what I mean by that is, it has to be a direct line to this with no chop saws or anything else on the system. And I go out to most jobs, and they say, yeah, we're getting this error code, and then you look over and they have it daisy chained into a couple different machines. You have to, it has to be its own power system, clean power.
10, 15 amp. Or
I
40
want-
amps.
I just
Yeah,
wanna
it's,
watch.
it's 20 amp, yeah.
I want to grab that last piece.
I just wanna watch, I don't want to move in.
So the difference between our system and our competitor systems is that we put the electrofusion, all the wires are integrated into the whole system.
Right, so you should
Most
see
of our
red.
competitors, you
Right.
have to put it
Now
in
you're gonna come
the
over here
system.
and press and hold down the green button. Okay, it's gonna do a self-test. Right, please wait. It's gonna say passed its calibration. Okay. Now what you wanna do is, you wanna grab these, and typically the contractor will take a piece of sandpaper, sand it off, and then takes just some, what is it?
Alcohol,
Rubbing alcohol.
Just to kind of clean up any of it.
This is important too. These are stoppers that come in there. This is just to stop it from where it has been, contracted that they take that off, and they had problems with the installation.
That's where your stab depth is.
Okay. So you want to take your other line. Okay. All right. So now you're set. So typically they'll get everything all set up like that, and then what you'll do here is you'll come and place your rods on one and
Doesn't
one.
matter which
Yep,
one?
Doesn't matter which one. Okay, and this will just tell you the different type of ones. Typically, you're just going to do the Orion Fuse CF.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to hit the
Start.
button. Yep. Okay, we're going to select the size,
Okay, inch and a half.
1.5 inch, so we're good on that. And you could just toggle up if it was higher or lower.
Okay.
Okay. You're going to want to preheat in the winter time,
Okay.
but since we're in the summertime and it's the thing, so you say standard. Yep. Okay. You're just going to measure that, right? So verified weld, CF 1.5 inch, 2 minutes, and then just press start. Okay.
Okay.
So
Hold on to it, I'm gonna see if it does anything.
it will. It'll start. Okay. So this is important, right? This is saying weld number 1325, right?
Okay.
So we tell the contractor just to write 1325
With an ink pen.
Oh,
with a
okay.
Sharpie or something, right? To keep a.
So they can test any of the, if they keep track of their welds,
Mhm.
they can go back, and if they have a failure, they can go find it quickly. This also is all downloadable with a UBS, a jump file where they can
USB
just.
drive.
USB drive, thank you. And so they have all of their data at the end of it. And the nice thing about our system versus someone else's system is you can do multiple, you can cook multiple fittings at one time. You can daisy chain these down. Our competitors, I'll go to the one.
You would take one of these off, put this on there, and then use this other line to.
Okay.
So you can do 2 at a time. So,
How many of the daisy chains do you get with the
Up to 6, I think.
6? Okay.
Is it one?
Not hard.
by the end of it, it gets pretty hot to the touch.
And it will give you, typically the time for fusion, depending on size, like it shows you like 1 1/2, 2 minutes. When you get up to like 2 inches, 2 minutes, 3 inch, 3 minutes, 6 inch is 4:30. It will give you all of that data in there. But I wanted to show you something. Must have missed this slide. You can always recook our fittings. You can try to recook them if it didn't take the first time. Which is different than most.
Just sticks
You're just gonna let it cool
Yeah,
down.
just let it cool down.
Oh, okay.
And then it'll set over a couple minutes. But these are, there's no, it's not like a
Battery.
Oh, your battery. Can't go jump your battery then with it, okay.
Keep your jump lace with it. Thanks.
What sets us apart,
Much hotter. Yeah, it's pretty warm right there.
I'd say.
Thank you, Chris.
and by the way, that's as easy as it gets.
Warm me up.
If you look at this picture here, our competitors, what sets us apart from our competitors is they have a clamping system. So every single one of those has to be clamped, and then they can fuse. So imagine you can put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 leads on here and cook it and keep going. They have to cook those, let it cool down, and then take the clamps off and then move. So when we show the contractor the difference between our pipe installation and our competitors, hands down from a labor standpoint, we destroy them on a labor standpoint. That's the biggest thing. If anybody say, why do I use yours versus somebody else's? When I'm talking to a contractor, it really becomes down to a labor, because this is labor
warm?
intensive. You gotta wait till they cool down and then take those. So now you have to buy multiple
twist
clamps if you wanna keep going, right? That's the big difference between our system and everybody else's system. So that just gives you a good idea of it. Any questions? I wanted to I wanted to bounce around, and I know we're running out of time. Have you guys had, since the last time I was here, have you had any opportunities with Blucher?
No.
Anything run into any? Okay. So again, it's just stainless pipe push fit up to 12 inches. It's all waste. It's not pressure pipe. We're stocking right now in our warehouse 3 and 4 inch, mainly for cast iron changeouts. Smaller jobs where you got cast iron that's exploded, leaked, whatever, old. They don't want to put it back in because they're having so many problems with it. Cast iron's the way. I mean, the Blucher's the way to go. It's a 10-foot stick of Blucher pipe is 17 pounds versus a 10-foot stick of cast iron's about 78 pounds. And once this system gets going, it's like a Lego system too.
This is like a 3-footer, so let's see.
Oh, yeah.
So from a labor point with the guys that are installing this,
Less hangers,
less hangers.
and you just kind of continue to go about. You're installing it similar to any other kind of system. It's an alcohol soap based system, and you just spray you spray it around, and you just push it in and twist, and it sets up. Once it dries, you're not going to be able to break it. Should try to get a wrestler to sponsor this. And then finally,
The whole Penn State team.
yeah, they're so good. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And then finally, Tony left some. I did a presentation probably 2 years ago on the IntelliStation digital mixing valves. We have the smaller systems. Our bigger systems for mixing valves, we're pretty big and expensive. We have a 3/4 inch system now and a 1 inch system that you're going to get. From the 3/4 inch system, you can get 0 to 29 gallons per minute and a 10 psi drop. It's called the LFIS 75. And the reason I'm telling you this is they're very forgiving, and in a lot of your facilities they're looking for tight control. Thermostatic's just not going to give them the tight control. Digital can get you down to plus or minus 2 degrees from your set point. They can be tied into the BMS system. They can help with eradication of Legionella, where they have eradication protocol where you superheat the water by just pushing a button instead of trying to go in and reset the thermostatic mixing valve, make it run, then go back and reset the mixing valve. all of this can be tied into your BMS system and all of your facilities, especially if anybody's calling on any assisted living facilities or any kind of hospitals, this is their sweet spot. They're talking about this right now. Every single one of them has to have a protocol in place for Legionella. The IntelliStation can help and solve some of the solutions, not all of the solutions, because it's a system approach. Tony or myself will be happy to go in with you on any call and help you sell it. But I would tell you, if you get the right audience and you start talking about Legionella, we have a product that can help mitigate and control the growth of Legionella with the IntelliStations. And these are just the smaller systems. What we learned was a lot of these, especially assisted living facilities in particular, they don't use the water that everyone thinks they use. Most of the clients aren't taking showers and baths, and most of them are being, typically a sponge bath of some sort, so they're just not using the water. So we can help them with a cost control issue as well with the smaller sizes. So I just wanted to kind of touch base on that. And thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I hope you got something out of it.